You're listening to the POSTCAST presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller after a 3-2 Ottawa Senators victory on the road, playing against the best team in the league on the second half of a back-to-back. You just absolutely love to see it.
Ross, here on the Locked On Senators podcast, we are talking about a real-life Ottawa Senators victory. What a time to be alive.
Wow. Perfect segue. We have so much to get into, and this is going to be the bulk of what we talk about in the next 2 days. Tomorrow's Locked On Senators, primarily interview-based. Brent Wallace joins us for 38 minutes. When did we ask our final question to Wallace?
We tried to say goodbye at like minute 25, and then 15 minutes later, we're talking about Rudy Balcers and a bunch of
heated Rudy
stuff.
Balcers debate coming tomorrow.
Yes.
On Locked On Senators, and a whole lot of great
Let's focus
stories.
on this win here.
Let me quickly tease the interview, though. Not only because I don't think Rudy Balcers is like the best grab. I don't think people are going to be downloading it to listen to Rudy Balcers on the show. But yeah, great stories from Brent Wallace on how Wally Mathot all got underway, his favorite interviews, whole lot more. But tonight we focus on victory. And it all started by scoring the first goal. It had been 6 games since they scored the first goal, and the same amount of games straight losses. So Alex Formenton gets him on the board, and he finally converts on a breakaway. That one felt like a few monkeys off the back in different senses.
Honestly, yeah. And he needs to do that to show everyone, hey, me getting these breakaway opportunities is actually going to result in something. It's not just kind of a moot point and we get an offensive zone face-off. Like, I'm going to start scoring these goals. And he needed one to go through there. And it was great to see Alex Formenton get not only the first goal, but the second one as well. This is a big night for Formy.
This was an important night for Alex Formenton.
Yeah.
He also stirred it up a little bit, got in the face of Brendan Smith, which we haven't seen as much of out of him in the last year or so. Remember at the start, and we saw it a ton in Belleville, but at the start of his NHL career too, he was all over guys. And then there was that night in Philadelphia, I forget who it was, but he got concussed from that hit, ended up missing a bunch of time. You could tell at that point he was a 19-year-old. He was like, I think he ended up playing World Juniors that year too. So now that he's got that man strength, it's time for him to use it a little bit more often. So he gets on the score sheet 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. How nice is that in itself, Pilsy? Not only scoring first, but flipping the script, because Ottawa had been giving up these momentum goals in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, what a refreshing start to this game. And that's got to be a big morale boost for the boys too. Like, hey, we're up here. Like, let's forget everything that happened. We have a good chance to win this game. Let's just focus up here. And I mean, the end result is good, but the process is still a little shaky, Ross, when the largest, let me make sure I get the stat right. It was the franchise win with the largest shot differential ever. 29 shot differential, and they end up getting the win. Forsberg, it's a record night for him as well. Most saves for him. And shades of that opening night up against the Leafs. That was the Forsberg we were hoping we were going to see, and he came back tonight.
He had 46 saves in that game against the Maple Leafs. That was then his career high.
Yep.
He gets 47 tonight. One ups it, both in shots against and saves. So that's what we were talking about with Matt Murray. Like, yes, circumstances have not been on your side, but Anton Forsberg has gone out there and stolen 2 wins for this Ottawa Senators team this year. Matt Murray hasn't, and that's what it comes down to. Matt Murray will get his first attempt at a win and a good performance in Belleville coming up this weekend. But after that opening goal from Foreman, you touched on it, this shot differential went lopsided in a hurry. Now, I'm not talking halfway through the game, and at that point, Carolina was on pace for 50 shots. They nearly hit that mark. But in the first period itself, what, 20?
20 to 3. I'm looking at it here. Yeah.
To 3 shots. And then the Senators come out with a 1-0 lead. Like, at that point, you just have to smile and say, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, and then you start looking at the face-offs here too, Ross. Holy crap, 63% to Ottawa's 37%. And it's honestly a miracle that the Senators won this game. Like, if you're the Carolina Hurricanes here, this is a look in the mirror game. And what did we do wrong here? How did we end up losing to the worst team on a back-to-back night here, and we just can't get it done, and we can't beat their, I don't know what you want to call him, third-string goaltender here, and a guy that we know, Forsberg's coming from the Hurricane system. He used to be a Hurricane. So, I mean, this is a great night for the boys. The boys needed this big time, like especially guys like Brady, Josh Norris, Batherson. Like, for the most part, they play a good game night in and night out, and they produce. But when the rest of the team can't hold their weight or really move the needle too much, and you're losing every game in the third period, you're not going to get the kind of satisfaction you want here. So I'm glad for those guys that they were able to get the W here.
Thanks for mentioning Brady Tkachuk, because that hustle play he made with time ticking down in the third period helped this team confirm a victory. I love that hustle from him, especially in a situation where second half of back-to-back with travel, going to a place where the team has 3 wins in their last 20 games. It was a house of horrors. They needed that win so badly. And like Nicky James Ballard puts in, I just realized I can put comments in.
Look at us.
Look at that. We're slow and steady. And this is Artyom Zub at Artyom Zub on Twitter. This is the 50-50 winner from last night's game. So congratulations on that.
Sick.
I would assume that the big exhale was winning the 50-50, but a Senators victory, awesome to see. Now 21 games into the season, 5 wins for your Ottawa Senators, but they're getting a chance here to go on a run because it's a busy couple months. We've already discussed 30 games between December and January this year, but even more so this next stretch. So they get one back-to-back already taken care of. Then doesn't get any easier in their next game on Saturday, hosting the Colorado Avalanche, who have a burr in their bonnet after losing big time to the Toronto Maple Leafs. 8-3 the score there. And then checking in right now, a 4-1 victory at Montreal. So they're coming in feeling good. Nate McKinnon back in the lineup. Going to be a tough test for the Senators. So we got to savor this win while we can, because after that game, then they've got another back-to-back with travel at New Jersey, home to the New York Islanders. Pilsy, who's your Sen Central standout outside of Alex Formenton? Because we already discussed the great work from Foreman 10.
Okay, well, I'm taking the next low hanging fruit here. Not Formenton, but Forsberg. I mean, you got to give it to him, right? Like, anytime you're able to pull this kind of performance off, and that's going to feel good for the team too, because I'm sure eventually you start looking at the goalies as a collective group and being like, yeah, you guys kind of are letting us down here, even though you can always say, yeah, the defense hasn't been great. The goal support isn't there either. But eventually, like we've been talking about, you need your goalie to steal a win, especially when you're on a slump like this. You're not always going to be able just to get a good old-fashioned 3-1 win where you work hard and the shots are even and the face-off percentage isn't lopsided in one spot. Once in a while, you need Forsberg, you need your goalie to be the guy that shuts the door, and then you just barely make it out with the win, and that's what the Ottawa Senators did tonight.
How many times does a team get outshot 49-20, win 37% of their face-offs, and go 0 on the power play that sends 0 for 3 and still win the game?
I don't know. That's something that we need a historian to check on, but it can't be many times. Like, that is crazy.
My Sen Central standout is DJ Smith, who's been taking so much heat. He nails it on the challenge, and he's just saying right now, post-game, that Brady Tkachuk turned to him, and they spoke, and he said, should I challenge you? He said, do it, coach. Let's go. That. And let's remember, they don't get that challenge, they're going to the penalty box. And you don't want this Hurricanes power play that did get on the score sheet once. You don't want to give them a fifth opportunity. 1 for 4 is already, okay, you're playing with fire. You get away from it. That was clearly a situation where Svechnikov's foot comes out, kicks out the balance underneath the skate of the attacking Senator in Alex Formenton, and he does such a great job to stick with that play and keep tracking the puck on the ice. And as Kevin says, our good buddy Kevin Jamina, pull that up. That is a gutsy Sens Sickos victory. So you absolutely love to see it. So my Sen Central standout has to be DJ Smith, because he has taken a ton of some rightfully and some unrightful heat in this game. Now, what I will say about him, talk about leaning on your big guns going into the second half of back-to-back with travel, like we keep going back to, but it can't be stressed enough. That's a tough situation. They got into Carolina at 3 a.m., How often is it that you see two defensemen under 10 minutes in total ice time? Lassie Thompson played 9:55. I thought he was fine. And Victor Mete, who has not been fine of late, again, not very noticeable tonight, but only played 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Pilsy, they relied on that top four, and they came through. Like, that might have been the best game from Nikita Zaitsev all year long. 4 block shots. I thought he was fantastic at doing just that, selling out. He had that like glove save in the second period where he really made sure that the puck wasn't going to go anywhere near the crease. So it's been a tough year, no question, for the Sens decor. But tonight, those top 4 guys, shout them out by name. Zub played 19:55, Holden 21, Zaitsev 26:40, and the horse Thomas Chabot 29:06.
Yeah, that's a great performance from the decor. And you know what? Those guys deserve a shout out here. Like, yes, the shots were still lopsided, but obviously they're giving Forsberg a chance to stay in this game. They're letting him see the shots. They're not getting in his way. Although that picture you posted of all 4 Senators in like a morphing line was pretty hilarious. That's tough for a goalie to try to see through that. But other than that, it seemed like they had a great game. And, you know, sometimes you just got to say, these are the 4 guys that are going. These other 2 guys, we're going to give them kind of a night off, and we're going to rely on the guys that are going. And that's how you win hockey games sometimes. You got to go with the hot hands.
After such a tough stretch, 6 straight losses, like we keep referring to, you look to your captain in a tough situation like this, and Brady Tkachuk needs some stick taps too, because he had an assist, 4 shots, 4 hits, 75% in the circle, and he played 18:30. Like, this was a great effort. He was finishing every hit. I already talked and gave him credit for that play at the end of the game that he made to kill the clock. I just loved what I saw from Brady Tkachuk tonight. So I want to give some special shout out to him, and also because it's been a tough year for him. So we're going to highlight when we see some positive from Austin Watson, that he blocked a shot right after the Sens went up 3-2. Huge. And that was in front of the bench, and that got the guys that extra little juice they needed to get this one past the finish line. Oh, it feels good, Pilsy. A win. I almost feel like we're doing this wrong because it's been so long. I have no point of reference for how we're supposed to cover a
win. Yeah,
no
I
idea.
don't know either.
Even the last time the Sens won, we record the Monday, and it was a Saturday game versus Pittsburgh. Sure, that's one thing. But then there was that flame shutout on the Sunday. So
we don't
there was
talk
still
about
that no, we don't talk about that game. But there's still that sour taste left in your mouth from that. So
absolutely.
Anyways, this feels fantastic. It's great to go in on a victory, especially going into such a tough stretch.
Absolutely. And just to wrap up here, another shout out and another group of people that deserve a shout out, the true Sens fans. For you guys to watch this game, I honestly thought I put it at a 0% chance of the Sens winning this game, and they come through 3-2. You guys all deserve this, so round of applause for Sens fans.
Hey, we do have to finish up with that. Shout out our boy, Stewart. Can we talk about Ennis in the faceoff dot, Pilsy? I don't know if you caught that segment from Mike Johnson. Yeah, so you're still at work at that point. Tyler Ennis is 9-0 in faceoffs this year, and they pointed out the stat when he got to 8-0. He went in, and his hands are this far away from each other at the top of his stick, and he just takes a wrist shot. Like, when the puck gets dropped, he just goes, oh, there it goes.
Whatever works.
It's working like an absolute piece of magic. So, as Brett James pointed out, Pilsy's parlay. Well, Pilsy, the only thing more cursed than the Ottawa Senators is your parlay.
Hey, I did that for the team. I'll let that be known.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have more breakdown of this, but again, tomorrow's episode, primarily Brent Wallace, Wally, from the Wally and Method Show. We have an absolute fiery conversation with him. He's got a ton of juice. We argue with them. We laugh. We cry. It's awesome. So tune in to Locked On Senators. It'll be out around noon tomorrow Eastern, and enjoy that victory, Senators fans. True or false, Senators fans, you can all enjoy a big time victory. Hope you enjoyed this postcast as well. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the postcast presented by Locked On Senators, following a 3-2 victory for the Ottawa Senators in Carolina against